So in this video, I will only be going over photos and narratives that are available in the death investigation report of Kenneka Jenkins. I've speculated enough in my other videos, so now let's talk about the cover-up, the contradictions, etc. that are involving this case. I'm going to start with this picture, which is from the surveillance videos that we've all seen. And I'm pretty sure that even if you don't agree with me on everything, you can agree with me that these are not all the same person. Let's just take it two pictures at a time. If you look at these first two photos, the girl on the left is thick. She is, I don't know. I mean, she looks, if I'm a size 5, she's a size 7. She looks tall. The girl right next to her in the other picture on the right is thin. I don't know if I could even fit into those jeans. She's thin. Look at her waistline. I mean, those are not two of the same person. There's absolutely no way. Okay, you go over to the next set of two pictures. And in this one, the girl on the left, I don't know what's going on there. I feel like even in the surveillance picture, you could tell it's like she's pushing her lips out and she has her hands like she's a zombie. It's just an odd photo. And the girl on the right has a forehead like Rihanna. I don't know what that's about, but I barely just saw her recently in the newer surveillance photos that they released. But the most compelling of all of these comparisons is the bottom two photos. If you pay attention, it took me a while to get the exact moment, which would be clear for the picture on the bottom left. I want you to pay attention to the hair length. It is like lower back. It's going, from where her elbows are, maybe just a little bit below her elbow. It doesn't even, it goes nowhere near the bottom of the jacket. The photo on the bottom right, that girl's hair, as Kenneka usually did wear her hair, is, all the way down to her. If she sat down, she would sit on her hair. And that would definitely not happen to the girl on the bottom left-hand picture. So, I don't know why or what. I'm not going to speculate much in this, but I just wanted to point some of these pictures out to you guys so that you can at least see what I'm talking about when I say something's going on with the girl in the surveillance photos.
That aside from the few photos that I have put together myself to display multiple images at once, I've left the file number at the top to make it easier for any of you to reference or look the photos up for yourself on their website. And I wanted to point out in this particular photo, it's supposedly the layout of what they call the upper kitchen or kosher kitchen, and it's just like a little diagram of the little stairs back there. There's an office and the freezer, and on the side they put a little close-up of freezer and where everything was supposedly found in that freezer. So I'm going to reference that later. I just wanted you to keep that in mind. Now that we have basically seen where they claim she was found,
that Kenneka was found. Now, this first picture was very odd to me. It almost looks like a mistake, but if that's the case, then why hide her back and something on the ground with that black bar? What are they hiding? And why does also everything somehow look different in this picture than it does in the others? I don't know exactly what it is. I haven't quite put my finger on that yet, but I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that something is not quite right with that picture. Now, here's another picture. And in this one, I want to point out the floor. If you look at the floor in the picture on the top, directly in back of Kanika, the floor is filthy. I mean, completely dirty. It almost looks like it was like burnt or something on the wall, and it's all kinds of trash, but the floor itself is almost muddy. The floor in the bottom picture, you can see that it almost looks like somebody wiped it up, cleaned it up. It does not have nearly as much of the dirt and grime that the other picture has. I found that to be quite odd also. So to further point out some inconsistencies with this story, if you look at the picture of how Kanika was allegedly found in the freezer, you could clearly see that her legs were, according to them, with the photos that they took, all the way pointed out of the door. Her body wasn't even fully inside the freezer. You could see the freezer, the side of it right there. For whatever reason, I don't know what they could possibly have been blacking out right there, but they're blacking something out. And it's inconsistent with the close-up of freezer and how she was found, little diagram that they provided. According to this, she would have been completely, I guess, she could have been shut in. And there's a lot of things that I could go over with this, but basically, I don't know how seriously they ever took this from the beginning, but that is not how she was found. Furthermore, I have another picture I would like to show you. This one was very upsetting. If you really look at I know that we've all seen in the different photographs, a dime. I think there's more than one dime, but you could clearly see in this picture in back of Kanika is a dime on the ground. It looks like a dime and could have came out of her pockets. Nothing too crazy about that. But when you go to this picture that has the dirtier ground, that is a button. That is a button. That is not a dime. How do I know it's not a dime? Because if you look at the side of the button, it's elevated off of the ground. It's not laying flat like this dime is on the floor that looks like it was cleaned up. This is a button. That's a button. They didn't want us to see that button because they couldn't give us a story that she died from hypothermia and maybe she tried to undress herself, because if that was the case, she would have been way too weak to be ripping buttons off of jeans. There's absolutely no way. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but I really just wanted to point that out. Something else that was extremely suspicious to me was the fact that supposedly all of these cameras that would have captured Kanika in areas that she was seen, just coincidentally, all were not working. We have the kosher kitchen stairs, of course, freight elevator, main elevator, back office, employee parking area, and laundry too. This makes me have further confirmation of the video I did. I'm entitled The Truth Behind the Lies, where I stated I think Kanika was killed in the back, put in one of the freezers that are in the basement, and then later on they probably used never any stairs, but there's an elevator back there. All they would have to do is, when the coast was clear, take her out of one of the freezers that they had in the basement and take her up to the kosher kitchen via the elevator, and that freezer would be right there if they did it that way. And it just is very odd to me that all of those cameras just so happen to not be working when any one of them could have told us what really happened. I also want to bring this up. This is a statement which, and I'll read out the part to you, because we all know in the surveillance footage that Kanika most definitely walked into the kosher kitchen, if that was Kanika, with all the lights on. There were, it was lit up. There was the coffee cup on the table. There were lights everywhere. So I really don't understand how they were saying that they had to turn on lights to find her. But I wanted to read a little clip from this report, and it says, because Officer Walsh advised, he walked over to the cooler, opened the door, and advised the light was off, and he did not initially see anything. He said he then realized there was another door inside the cooler. Officer Walsh said he then opened the second door into the freezer, and the light was off inside there as well. He stated when he opened the freezer door, he immediately saw what appeared to be a woman lying on the floor, face door. So, if it was so dark that he actually went all the way to the freezer, opened it up, didn't even notice that there was another door, how is it that they claim she opened up the freezer and we were able to see a light reflecting on the wall, or a reflection of light, which I never saw any reflection of light. I don't know if any of you have, but how is that possible? If that is possible, who turned off the lights? Because it was lit up. It was nighttime when she walked into that kitchen, and it was also nighttime when they found her. It's not like it was two different times of the day. It's basically the middle of the night and the middle of the night. So I found that extremely suspect that they're claiming that they weren't even able to find her at first because there were no lights. But not only did we see her walk into a lit up kitchen, they're claiming that there was a light that reflected when she opened the freezer door, as if the lights come on when the freezer door is opened. So it's just a huge contradiction on top of a contradiction, and there are many more like this.